you and I both know you've used lots of plant foods for many years, from lots of suppliers, so it's not like you're new to this.
No.
This is, you know, this, hand on heart, this is the only plant food you're ever going to need.
Yeah, and it will be the only plant food I ever use, more than likely.
Hi everyone, I'm Jeremy from Evolution Aqua, and we're here today with George Farmer, the Aquascaper. Hi George, you alright?
I'm really good, thanks, how are you?
So we're going to talk about a very exciting product.
Yes, I'm very excited about it.
Tell us about it.
So, this is the Aquascaper Complete Liquid Plant Food, but before I go into too much detail about it, I just want to tell a little story.
Okay.
So, when I started the plant and aquarium hobby in the early 2000s, it was a big no-no to add nitrates and phosphates to your plant tank. I mean, you were contributing to PFK at the time.
I was there.
And I read on the forums back then, on especially American forums, the Crib, Sombar's Bar Report, that actually you needed to add nitrates and phosphates, especially to a high energy plant tank with CO2, to feed the plants, because plants need nitrogen and phosphorus. And you know, a non-planted tank, yes, nitrates and phosphates do cause algae, but in a planted tank they don't. But back then, the advice, even by experts in the UK, was do not remove nitrates and phosphates. But I didn't take that advice. I followed the advice of the forums and I started dosing nitrates and phosphates, and I had great results. And I actually wrote into PFK, didn't I, with a photo and said, look, this is the results I'm getting. You know, and you were really interested in it, and then, long story short, I started writing for PFK, and things moved on quite quickly. And the whole principle was based on a thing called the estimative index, which was kind of pioneered by Tom Barr. And the theory is, you add deliberately too much nutrients to the aquarium, and the plants use it all up because they exhibit luxury uptake, which just basically means they grab hold of anything they can. And
but also importantly, they can take what they need, but too much doesn't kill them.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can have an excess level of nitrates and phosphates in your tank. You can have 4 or 5 parts per million, 50 parts nitrate, and you still won't get algae in the planted tank. So the theory is the plants themselves are producing chemicals which fight off the algae. And a healthy planted tank system, basically you can throw as much nutrients as you like at it, and the plants will do well and the algae won't.
Yeah, and fertilisation really is key to all the best tanks in the world. You wouldn't be able to grow these plants, which are effectively immerse plants. In nature, underwater, low down in the corner of the tank, without giving them loads of food.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a really interesting point. So in nature, 90%, 95% of plants grow out of the water most of the year, and then during the flood season they get submerged, and the plant then has to adapt to its underwater growth, where CO2 levels are really low, light levels are much lower obviously, and they really, really struggle. And so we kind of almost beat nature, if you like. We add CO2 injection, we add more light, we add plenty of nutrients, and the plants thrive underwater long term, which they don't in nature. So with that in mind, I was using the EI method, estimative index. I was promoting it in the UK, and it became quite popular. But the thing is with EI, it was a little bit complicated for some people. Yeah,
it was the dry powders that put me off, and the kind of
almost like chemicals that you're using to make explosives. So like potassium nitrate,
wasn't it? And there's
people don't want to mess around with raw chemicals sometimes, and people like to keep it simple. So with that,
also the fact that you couldn't even just buy it from an aquatic shop. It was like go to this website or this chemist and buy this dry powder. I didn't really want to do that.
No.
I like going in aquatic shops. I just wanted to pick it up. No, it's fish safe.
Yeah, exactly. So things evolved, and a couple of manufacturers produced nitrogen and phosphorus containing fertilizers, nutrients. Separate fertilisers for potassium, separate for iron, and to get the whole range of nutrients that you needed, you could have to buy up to sort of 6 bottles.
Sure.
Which some people like that. They like the sort of chemistry and the dosing a little bit of this, a little bit of this. But people with busy lives, people that want to keep things simple like me, they just want everything in one bottle.
Yeah, and also I'm pro-testing, so if you dose potassium, you really need to test for potassium, and there's no point in doing that because the plant, as we've just discussed, can handle way more. So it's kind of pointless. It's not like a reef tank. You can just chuck way too much in. The plants take what they need.
And interestingly, the exact ratios aren't actually that important. Not like, because in the reef you have the Redfield ratio, right, which you have to have like a certain amount of nitrate, a certain amount of, that's not really that important, because plants are obviously very, very different to corals. Corals are animals. Aquatic plants are effectively opportunistic feeders. They're weeds that will adapt to a lot of conditions. So there's no need not to have everything in one bottle.
Yes.
So there's a few other manufacturers that do it, but their instructions are all for dosing weekly.
Yeah. This is interesting. I've learned from this. George is absolutely right on this point. Feed your plants daily.
Yeah.
You feed your fish daily. Why would you give your plants the feast and famine and feast and famine? That's when algae takes hold, because it's the biggest opportunist of all.
Yeah, exactly.
Give your plants the tools they need to fight off algae and to grow and to thrive every single day.
Yeah.
They take what they want, but there's nothing worse than needing and not having it available.
Yeah.
So the future really is daily dosing.
It is, I believe it is. And I've been using this kind of system for 10 years or so now, with great effect.
Yeah.
And I've been working with Evolution Aqua on this product now for a little while, and we've come up with a great product that's designed to be dosed daily. And not only that, it also caters for the different types of plant tank, because not everyone's got the same system.
Yeah.
So if you buy an all-in-one from one company, it will just tell you what to dose per week,
volume per
week.
Yeah.
And that doesn't. So I've got a high energy 240 litre tank with 100 PAR at the substrate. 30 parts per million CO2. Soil substrate, loads of really heavy feeding plants, and it's telling me to dose 5 ml per 100 litres per week.
Exactly, and then in contrast, the tank we've got over the road, really low light, no CO2, not very demanding plants,
exactly,
but the same dosage on the bottle.
So in my experience, and I have quite a lot of experience on this, the other manufacturers err on the side of caution, i.e. they dose for the minimum.
Yes.
So in my experience, that isn't enough. And a lot of aquascapers run high energy systems, CO2, like we just said, CO2 injection, lots of light, demanding plants. So you need to dose more.
Yeah.
And
so I'm a heavy fish feeder, he's a heavy plant feeder.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe it, that on a normal bottle of plant food, he will put a weekly dose in every single day.
Every day, yeah. And some people will think it's wasting it. It is probably more than that's absolutely necessary, but better to do more and be absolutely 100% sure that every single plant in that tank is well fed than not dose enough. The plant goes through nutrient deficiency. As poorly plant equals algae.
And to be fair to you, I've never seen you fail with a plant. Never ever. Any new plant or existing plant, you never fail with it.
I had
formula.
There's a couple of Utricularia graminifolia failed, but I've grown it now. So, but that's nothing to do with nutrients. That's just because it's so sensitive.
Well, other things as well. It's a predator for a start. It actually eats
like it's got bladder wart, and it's a carnivore, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but that beside, I've grown every plant I've tried.
Try feeding it Daphnia. No, that's another subject.
Because I've got some aquaforest we can try. So that's kind of the backstory about it.
So let's go back to basics then. So basically, you recommend dosing daily.
Yeah.
You can't overdose a plant food.
No, not in a healthy plant tank system.
It's pointless dosing individual components when there's no reason why they can't all go into one bottle.
Yeah.
And why would you chase these levels where the plant decides how much of each thing it takes up? Exactly.
So that's another interesting point, is about testing. So. But sure, test your water for really important parameters.
Ammonia, nitrite, as fish things.
As an indicator, you don't need to hit specific levels, so you don't need super accurate test kits. But absolutely no need to test for nutrients. Because the plants handle it all for you. So I haven't used a test kit for nutrients since I first started the hobby, when I realised about EI.
Okay. Basically. So nutrients follows on nice and neatly to the word complete.
Yes.
What does complete mean? Can you explain a complete and not
sure.
complete?
So complete is every nutrient covered. So I mean all the trace elements. I can't think of the top of my head, but iron, manganese, boron. Do you know any others? Molybdenum. There's a couple of others. And And the really important ones, nitrogen,
Yeah.
phosphorus,
Potassium.
and potassium, NPK.
Yeah.
And that's what's missing from the vast majority of all fertilisers. Some fertilisers actually state it's a complete fertiliser, but they don't have the nitrogen and phosphorus in them.
Yeah.
So this is a true complete
Yeah.
fertiliser. Everything
So,
you need.
so everything those plants need to grow
Yeah.
is inside one bottle.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that is why we term it complete.
complete. Yeah.
So it's a myth as well. Some manufacturers will say that you need separate bottles to
Yeah.
store these. You don't.
No, not at all. So it has a special chemical in which allows all of the nutrients to exist in one bottle, because if you do it sort of a really kind of Heath Robinson way, you'll get precipitation with
Yes.
iron and phosphate.
Yeah.
But we've accounted that, and there's it's just a really great product, and there's other advantages to this over other
Okay.
complete.
So let's go back to the dosage now. So you've
Yeah.
got in the directions for use, you've got low, medium, and high. Can you
Yeah.
just, in a nutshell, describe a low, a medium, and a high?
Yeah. So when we're talking about low, medium, high, we're talking about energy levels.
Yeah.
So that's like refers to lighting.
Yeah.
CO2 if you're using any.
Yeah.
Liquid carbon, you might use liquid carbon instead of CO2 or in addition to CO2. And if you're using a soil, if you've got lots of plants, basically all the energy in that tank is really high. Lots of circulation as well.
So metabolism, it's
just
you know,
really
loads
high.
of light, loads
Yeah.
of growth, loads of everything being consumed, loads of CO2
Yeah.
being consumed.
Yeah, so
that's high.
That's high energy. The other end of the spectrum, you've got low energy.
Yeah.
So like the tank in the office.
Yeah.
Low levels of lighting.
Yeah.
No CO2 injection. Low levels of circulation. Easy plants.
And with that comes fewer water changes,
Yeah.
less dosing,
Yeah,
etc.
less need for nutrients because the plants don't need it.
Yeah.
So the higher levels of light, the light is the main driving factor. The more
Yeah.
light you have, the more the plant wants to grow. So
It's like
the
an
more you need to
accelerator
feed it.
pedal, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got medium, which is kind of in between. So
Yeah.
you might have moderate lighting, low to moderate with liquid CO2.
Yeah.
So they're quite a broad spectrum, but it's certainly better than all the other fertilisers out there because none of them cater for the different levels of
Sure.
energy.
Now this is an interesting point because it's not a like-for-like comparison. So you could take a plant food that's on sale and you could say, well, hang on a minute, if I'm high circulation, etc., then 5 ml per day per 50 litres, this bottle's only going to last me X.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, competitor
Will
says
last me.
that it will last me 5 times as long, but
Yeah.
it won't.
It won't if you're dosing to what the plants need.
Because
Yeah.
most of them compare to our low.
Low dosing, yeah.
So even if you took competitor bottle,
Yeah.
you don't stick to their.
No. And if you did, in a high energy setup, you would suffer from deficiencies and you would get algae. I know
Yeah.
that for a fact.
Yeah.
So, at first glance, people are like, oh, I need a lot. I've got a 500 litre tank, I've got high energy. I'm going to go through a lot of that quite quickly. True, but
Yeah.
your plants will be good. If you're a serious aquascaper, if you're
Yeah.
a serious plant grower,
Yeah.
then spending a few extra pounds isn't a problem.
It's not a lot. It's not reef tank money, is it?
No.
It's
So-
one plant food. It's
Yeah, exactly. So this retails for $12.95 for 500 ml.
okay.
We only do the 500 ml at the bottle at the moment.
Yeah.
We might change that. And the really good thing, the packaging is amazing. So we've got some really nice photographs on there, which actually from my own aquascapes.
Yeah.
They're glossy, whereas the rest of the packaging is a nice matte finish. But even like the Aquascaper logo, that's glossy as well.
You like that?
I love that. So
what's that then?
we're opening this. So this is a syringe. So let's say we want to dose. We've got a nano tank. We've got an Aquascaper 300 cube. It's
Yeah.
only 20 litres after display.
So let's do a bit of a role play. So
Yeah.
let's say we've got a 20 litre or a 25 litre nano tank
Yeah.
on low.
Yeah.
So you see there, it's only 1 ml per day per 50 litres.
So we need half a mil.
Correct.
So,
So a half a mil we can do with a supplied syringe.
that comes free with the bottle.
Yeah.
And then to do that, you would take the lid off. I won't do it now, but we take the lid off, pour a bit of the fertiliser into the lid, literally suck up your half a mil, put that into your tank, pop it in,
Yeah.
pour your remainder back into the bottle, maybe give your lid a bit of a rinse because
Yeah.
it does tend to cause
Yeah, yeah,
crystallisation. and that's it. You know, it's a 10-second job.
And then at the other end, if you've got like an Aquascaper 1500,
yeah, about 500 litres.
Yeah, on high dose.
Yeah,
5 mil per 50, so you're looking at
50 mil.
Exactly.
50 mil per day, so 5 capfuls.
10 mil cap.
Yeah, 5 capfuls, bang, bang, bang.
Dead easy.
There you go. Really easy way of dosing. I do like the pump dispensers, but a lot tend to break, and they can get clogged up as well with the as the fertiliser dries off, it leaves a residue.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are actually in clear bottles.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of an issue. If you might leave it out and about, and the sunlight can actually degrade the fertiliser. This is white, it's opaque, so it reflects heat, it reflects light.
So yeah. What colour is the plant food, George?
It's as clear as can be possible. It's as clear as possible. So other manufacturers will deliberately colour their plant food just to make it look pretty. But as we know, it can actually tint the water.
Yeah, yeah.
So we've deliberately not added any colouring at all. It's a very kind of translucent yellowy brown.
Plant food basically is yellowy brown.
Yeah, it's the trace elements in it.
So we're not hiding it. We're not dyeing it blue or green.
No, exactly. It's just as natural as it can be. 2-year shelf life. So even for a nano, that'll probably last you 2 years. It depends on your energy levels, obviously.
Because it's one bottle, you could even auto dose it. If you've got like an auto doser, and you know that you want say 2 mil per day.
Yeah,
per
a lot of people do auto dose. Yeah.
Dead easy. So it's only one channel, and you haven't got that kind of imbalance thing of my potassium's been dosed too much and my iron hasn't.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to cause yourself unnecessary worry.
When I started the hobby and I got into growing plants, I was reading plants need 10 parts per million nitrate, 1 part per million phosphate. So I'll get a nitrate test kit, I'll get a phosphate test kit, I'll test my water. I'd be reading 20 parts and half a part phosphate, so I'd dose more phosphate. And then you're chasing numbers, and the test kits aren't even that accurate for hobbyists. So
it was unnecessary.
It was unnecessary. Just get one bottle with everything you need, a complete liquid plant food, and it's simple as that.
Cool. So the Aquascaper complete liquid plant food 500 milliliter worked in conjunction with George Farmer.
Just been using it for 12 months with great success.
Yeah, so you and I both know you've used lots of plant foods for many years from lots of suppliers, so it's not like you're new to this.
No.
This is, this, hand on heart, this is
really
the only plant food you're ever going to need.
Yeah, it will be the only plant food I ever use, more than likely.
Yeah, and if you need more of it, you just dose more of it.
Yeah, exactly. Really simple.
Great.
Go out and get yours today from an Evolution Aqua dealer.
Cheers, George.
Cheers, mate.